This video is based on the person with the higher light body, and the light body is what escapes this matrix. For the organic portal or the NPC level consciousness, this video is not irrelevant, but they do still have hope due to small dreams and small cycles being fulfilled. As when I talk, I'm usually speaking in a larger cycle and in a higher sense. So when there's friction, you must go, because friction leads to fire. And you've noticed that humanity is undergoing tremendous amounts of friction. Hello Min Me33, and God, I wish you guys would have better names that are easier to pronounce. But yeah, tonight I wanted to talk about the video title that I've had in mind for quite a while, that there is tremendous amounts of static in the system, and I don't believe this static will be solved. So the static might be wherein people are not usable due to whatever reason, or people are not capable of affecting the larger whole in a manner of shifting the energy out of the grid of death, or out of the cycling down and falling. And this is my point with this video, that this is a falling matrix. It's not just fallen in a past tense, but it is within falling. I've talked about this before, that the biological form fall into a metallic form, the robots, and then into a more dense state called crystalline, or crystals, crystal beings. And I've had future visions in this place, and it's like pushing shit uphill. If you get a turd and you push it up a hill, it's a messy procedure and nothing's left at the end. That's what I suppose to you that is happening here. That hope is like pushing a turd uphill at this point, and this point's the end. And people having hope that, you know, and this goes hand in hand with New Age thinking and philosophy, that there's still hope for humanity. And I'm telling you, your technological dreams are the organic portal dream. And that's what I was saying, that they're going to cycle into cyborg. And in a cyborg form, you have different energy body. Can the higher light body inhabit a metallic form? I've written in the Organic Portal Handbook, no, that is not escapable, and it is not transversible, and it's part of the Great Sealing. The Great Sealing is spoken of in the Bible, and the whole thing about having hope is like not realizing what's going on here. that you know, you think people run the world and that people make the decisions. Now, without getting into, you know, conspiratorial things like aliens and blah blah blah, we can just once again take a very ambient view from, you know, our present state and just look around us, right? What do you see happening out there in the world? And you say, okay, so we're learning these things for, you know, you come into a problem so you can find the solution, because the solution's always embedded in the problem. And I guess what I'm saying is that that's like a chasing of the cheese by the rat on the wheel, and that there is indeed a wheel, and it's not going anywhere but giving energy into this place. And this is essentially, you know, part of the main portion of this argument. Then, you know, we add things on like eschaton, which means end. So eschaton literally means ending, state, which is a state. Now, okay, well, obviously the game doesn't end then, and yeah, but that's what I'm saying, it goes into robotica. So from our perspective, it does end. So it's not that simple as, oh, life will go on. Yes, but how will the life, what you call life, be? And like I've said, it's a fall. It's just going to be another huge layer, another reiteration of the fall. And it's always reiterating. I also suspect that we're halfway through this universe, even though mainstream science will have no agreement with me, or, you know, say prove it or this or that. I base this on again, an ambient view of where I am. And, you know, you might say, well, we can't imagine what it would be like in 1,000,000 years. Yeah, that's true. It's very true, but when we look at the universe, you know, we can make a few assumptions, and not just assumptions, we can see the facts of what's happening. And like I've said, you know, we're clearly going into another fallen state, which is a greater ceiling. So again, I'm talking here from, you know, a human spiritual perspective, and that I don't think a robot is going to have the same perspective. Hello, Ingine Duchawa. Geez, you guys have some names. How are you going? Feel free to, you know, type something in the chat if you want to ask a question or make a suggestion. But I just came here with a pedagogy, and yeah, I came here with a plot of video. But you're free to, you know, chime in. So I see all these people around, you know, that they have faith as well, and I wanted to talk about faith because, you know, it's very blind, right? It's very blind. It's kind of what faith means. You can't see it, but you just got to trust it. Oh, okay. Engine. Okay. Oh, it also means Indian. In what language does your name in engine mean Indian? I'm curious. That's interesting. So, I don't know, when we look at this stuff, like even, you know, when I was speaking to these Latter-day Saints and the Mormon girls that I met, their view was very interesting. The girl had drawn in her book their beliefs, their belief system, right? The Latter-day Saints and Mormon, uh, I'm gonna call it reincarnation cycle. And it's interesting because she was showing me different worlds and different planes, and they had absolutely no bearing at all whatsoever on anything that I know. To me, it appeared to be complete fiction. However, it could have just been someone else's vision. I'm not too glib or priori concluding that I'm just going to assume that it was fiction, but it looked like it. You know, at first glance, it's like, well, I can relate this to absolutely nothing. So it's interesting what one of the sisters showed me in her book, because of course we know me, and I'm very, very inquisitive, and I was asking her, many questions. And I'm asking her, well, what's that? What's this? And pointing to her little diagrams. And she was saying, and everything to them goes back to Jesus, right? Which reeks of the same thing that science is doing. It goes back to a singularity. Engines. I always thought that was a mocking slang. I didn't realise that. Interesting. I always thought that was a mocking slang. AD is also pronounced as a G, like in the word soldier. Okay, thanks for that. What culture are you from? What culture is that in, if you're not from it? What you're talking about there. Is that Native American, or? I'm interested to know what culture are you pronouncing there. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's interesting that it always goes back to a singularity, because science does the same thing, or it's 10 to the high 50 trillion singularities, which is worse, isn't it? Black holes, right? So, it goes back to the monotheistic theological God, or it goes, to the spatial black hole, which is more singularities, which is kind of worse, like you're doing worse, right? And anyway, I want to get back to the main part of the argument, which is, well, it's not really an argument. I guess I'm trying to argue because every time I argue it's for an awakening or a realization or an epiphany or a vision or a visual, right? Or an understanding. So I'm not arguing like to say, hey, I'm right. I'm arguing I am trying not to just win you over or something. It really is a gift, right? I could sit under you and I could listen to you, and you could give me a gift of sight, right? Yeah, I thought it was Native American. Thanks for that, Engine Duchawa. I've never seen you on the channel before. It's very interesting doing these live sessions that I'm meeting more people. It brings me back to what I was talking about, though, and there's just so many ways to see this, like friendship. We could dwell there for a minute on the concept of friendship, and what are you getting yourself involved in if you're friends with a god as well? Think about that in the background. But I mean, just on a personal level. When you're with a friend, or when you're trying to connect up, right, you get tremendous sense of hope, right? But But again, this stream is about, no more hope, and I wanted to just, what is faith? Like to really think about this, because people don't seem to ask these questions. Like, again, when I was talking to, for instance, the Latter-day Saints girls, and I'm not bagging, this is just part of my experience, and I'm using it as a tool for explanation. So when I'm talking to them, they have a tremendous, it seems, 99% faith. Because when I'm looking at the girl's diagrams, not only could I not relate it to anything I've ever seen before, but she also was saying that this world's a test and all that, and then you got to think, well, why do I have to even be tested in this world? Ooh, to enter some kingdom of heaven, and you can't explain it in any way, shape, or form. Nothing. You don't even get to glimpse it. You know what I mean? And that brings that aspect back of blindness and how faith is blind. It's heavy, but just because it's heavy, I don't think we should avoid it. Right? You lift heavy things and it makes you stronger. So this is what I consider that I'm doing too when I'm doing philosophical, deep philosophy and philosophical weights. I'd really like to hear your guys' opinions, and this is why this is a live session and not a just a video of me talking, because I'd really like to hear your guys' opinions on this. Oh, you saw the Spinoza video. Yeah, that was very interesting, and I suppose we could say that it's kind of the opposite of what I'm doing here, because he was saying it should be a meditation on life to increase your acting power, right? If you follow along that reading of Spinoza, that's essentially the summarization of the entire reading, right? To increase acting power, which means creation ability, right? Not to be an actor. That's essentially the crux of his argument and his whole theorem. And I guess what I'm doing here is he may have, even if he was alive now, say, well, you're meditating on death. And so what? So what if I'm meditating on death? And would he say, well, that's wrong? Well, we've got to face it. It's coming. It's coming for everyone. It's not like it's just me. So, again, would you want to ignore that? So yeah, I do agree with what someone was saying, how Spinoza could be seen as a materialist. They were saying in the reading. And again, you guys and me, we may call him then, NPC, or at that level of consciousness, and organic portal level consciousness. But anyway, what if it is a meditation on death? And so what? Would you rather ignore it? Because I say to you that if you ignore it, there's less consciousness about it. And the whole idea of building a light body, which would be the only thing that could possibly escape here, because it's not going to be your physical body, that's going to get eaten by the worms and definitely recycled, isn't it? So the only way to build a light body is via what we call consciousness, right? You can't do it via ignorance. It's not going to happen via ignorance. Anyway, what do you think, Engine? I see a few people here, but no one's commenting. go. We've got a little bit longer. I've got some battery. You can sit and wait. Alright, let's go back to, while you guys think of something to say, I'd really like you guys to chime in. But back to the thing of friendship, because it's a good third dimensional relic to see this better. Because every time you go into any friendship, you have hope. Right? At the start of a friendship, you always have hope. Well, let's fast forward. What's at the end of it? Death. Again. So I mean, let's use that as an allegory or a metaphor, right? Let's use it as a metaphor, kind of analogous metaphor. Okay, let's go with this comment by Engine. We'll get back to that. I feel that when I ate from the elementary centers of the kindergarten, I changed color. Interesting. For example, I was burned over 70% of my body at age 2 and died 3 times. What, like literally? Or are you talking a spiritual death? So you got burned on your body when you were 2 years old. And so you mean, you know, like hospitalized burns on your body. That's intense. Or are you talking spiritually? Because I can't quite make out what you're saying. It looks like you're saying physically. Yeah, right. Literally burned in the... I was burned till I learned how to comprehend people talking. Burned literally in the body. Again, fantastically confusing comment. I like it. That's my style. Okay. I'll repeat his comment. I was burned till I learned how to comprehend people talking. Yet then he says on his second sentence, literally burned in the physical. Good comment, good comment. Making me think. But, okay, how does that relate to this talk? So, I just want to understand. Anyway, I'll while you write more, hopefully, I'll continue my little spiel. You know, about friendship seems to be a really good allegory and metaphor to explain. You know, it's like how your cell is a little you, right? Your larger body. I think in the context we're talking about, it's a good way to see this. And oh, hello. I have not seen you for a while, Rita. I can't pronounce your last name. Rita Kulako, numinous. Yes, numinous like nunominous, not phenomenous. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, so I mean, you could argue back at me. You could say to me, I mean, I'm not here just giving a lecture. I mean, this is all, this is philosophy. This is what it is, right? We talk, because sometimes mid-talk, you have an epiphany for yourself. Oh, okay. Okay. Where was I? So you could say to me, you could argue, you know, well, aren't you having blind faith that there is even a place to go to for your spirit, or you know, for your light body and all this stuff? Well, I would answer no, personally, because of vision, because I've seen things, and the things I've seen do not relate to anything. It's not a chimera of physical circumstances, like a dream might be, right? You might have a dream where it's like a chimera of your emotional circumstance. But the visions that I've had of other worlds, I do not believe, and that's the one time I rarely use the word believe, because I'm very free flowing. I don't hold on. So in this sense, I do, because it seems to be so backbone. It could still be erroneous, but could it be God helmet beaming things into my head? Maybe. Could it be remote monitoring and all this gang stalking stuff, and then putting EMF signatures? I know that's happening to me, but yeah, I don't think any of that is the case. I think that the true visions that I've had of other worlds are really literally coming from there, from wherever it is. But and does that give me hope? Only hope to realize that this place isn't the end, and the only thing that exists. But it doesn't give me infinite hope, because how do I know that that's not just another construct? What if that is another, matricy, just more another web? It could be. So that would go with my original argument to, that there isn't hope. But anyway, there might not be a place to go after death, but we are creators. We create them. Yeah, that's a very interesting comment. Can you comment more on that, Rita? I like that comment, but again, it reeks of, faith and hope. And how do you know that you create another world? It seems a bit fantastical, right? Am I creating the vision in my eye? It seems to me to be retroactive. You know what I mean? So I'd really like to have a conversation with you, because I've seen you make some really good comments on the channel, Rita. I really like when you make comments, because sometimes they've given me, a type of faith and hope. But you're a female. You see this? This is, again, I'm not trying to be sexist, but we are always discussing this place as a secondary feminine matrix. And perhaps I'm liberating you in that comment by showing you yourself, I'm going to go to Injin's comment first, just proceeding in order. I feel you or I are were we always were. I feel you or I were we always were. That doesn't make sense, that sentence. That wasn't the best English. And the one I think I understand. And that one, all things. Yeah, this is what I said at the beginning of the video, everything coming back to singularity. But that's a kind of blind faith, hope, and I almost want to say outside of myself, even though everybody's going to go, what? That's inside. Yeah, I understand that view. I definitely do, but I feel it as a type of separation. Am I talking from the ego perspective, or even the super ego, right? The id, the steward of the light body, was by Freud an organic portal, definitely, called superego, right? So perhaps I could argue, I could agree with it, with Freud there. Oh, now I'm not seeing chat replay. What's going on here? Oh, here we go. I also feel that I'm where I am and my flesh is here in earth. In other words, my mine is heaven in my flesh. My flesh is earth. Okay. Very Indian perspective. I'd expect someone like you to say that because your name is Indian and you're, got that Native American vibe on you for sure. But remember, on this channel, I'm always talking about this place as a matrix, and I used to hold that view of a sacred earth, and I'll call it at the earth level. But really, what I'm saying here is really, really far beyond earth level, and I'm considering this as a construct and as a matrix, as a type of fake simulation or a holographic simulatory environment. Just because it's holographic and simulatory, does that mean it's fake? No, but I'm suggesting it. I am, yes, that's my overlay, but I am overlaying it. All right, Rita, you said everything is a creation. We can be masters of our reality, not their reality. But how hard it really is hard, not hope or faith, just being strong. Yeah, and when you have that type of strength that you're talking about, where is it rooted? This is what I'm an etiologist. I really am an etiologist. I've come to realize it's very painful because it means you have to search, and you always have to get to the root. Etiology means the cause of something, and I'm an etiology ontologist. So ontology is the relationship of something. So you have in this context of the talk, we're talking about relationship of stuff I see in my third eye compared to this place. That would be the ontology that I'm discussing. And I'm etologically trying to sense, and I'm putting an overtone on it, which may be by some called negative and stuff, but I am indeed just trying to look at the etiology, and if we don't give it that negative tone, you appear to be looking the other way. So for me, I'm throwing negative and positive out, even though I understand that it can be seen as a negative view. I'm just neutrally trying to look, even if it is down a negative path, if that makes sense. Yeah. But you're right, everything is creation, and look, the point I'm saying is, yeah, we can be masters of this place, but where is this place going? This is why this video, why I'm in such a mood. Why I'm so flat-faced and may seem worried and and all those energies, but really I'm just exploring, and sure, we create and we can master it because we have our own mind, and the NPCs, they can't do that, right? They're subject. And that was one thing I came into this video wanting to talk about. Let's go to that level right now. Like, what hope do they have? For them, there is no hope. We'll leave faith to their side for a minute, but there is no hope for these people. Do you think that the technology is going to come save everyone? You tell me other hopes. Oh, we're all going to be very loving. Don't forget what was his name? The last quote, the biggest last quote that George Orwell made. George Orwell talking about the Orwellian society that we now see around us. I mean, it's here, it's manifest. His last quote was, and you'll like this, reader, because, he did end it in saying, but you can do something about it. But will they? That's what I say. So George Orwell's final quote, was people are essentially going to just battle. It's going to be one-upmanship, right? And what do we see in the world? That's what's happening. Do you understand that? Have you guys seen his quote? It's something like that. It's like, man will just like, try and best one another. So basically like battling. Now you could say, that could end things, but you could also say, or maybe again, a solution is stressed out of the problem, sure. And then he does say, he putters off and he says, but you can do something about it. Like you can do something about it, right? It's just in my eye, again, think about it. In the context of this video title and without the context, what do you immediately see in that? But you can do something about it to change it, he said. Well, what is that, friends? What is it? It's in the video title, right? And it's what I've been discussing. It seems like, well, a hope, and a faith. You can do, hopefully we can do something about it. You can do it. Like, I understand it's assertive, but do you see what I'm saying? It's still left there to a type of like faith. Engine again says, I know this may sound a bit strange, but I feel that I am the only one thinking. Yeah, look, this keeps coming up. I've got to do a whole live session on this. It's like, to me, it seems ridiculous, that statement, and it keeps coming up, but I feel it too. But it's not true, because I'm sitting here thinking and you're sitting there thinking. So it's plain not true. Like in the Organic Portals Q&A people were saying, someone said the same thing, am I in this place by myself? And so everybody, that would mean including me and, everyone in the chat is not here or not real. Like, again, I gave it a very shallow dip in that video, so let's dip into it again. I mean, you can talk about a bubble, but you can talk about a holographic bubble, a vision dome. You can only see so far, and then mentally, you can only see so far, right? And then to go back to what you're saying there, Engine, about, you feel like you're the only one thinking. People have said they feel like there's only a few people in their entire city that are real. I know I've been in the movement, I'm seeing all the videos over the years, I get it. People keep saying like, oh, there's only a few people in my city that are real, and I always looked at that like, that's a bit too far, right? That's, I don't know, I really think that's taking a bit too far. And it's the same argument as, well, it's not the same, but it's very closely correlated to what you're saying about you being the only one, people trying to say they're the only one in their experience, right? You've all heard this argument. We need to keep talking about that because it's a very interesting concept, but I mean, what can you say? I'm here and you're there. I mean, yeah, we're at distance, but we're still in the same thing, you know what I mean? So I always discount that. I always kind of shove it off. Maybe I'm wrong in the end, and maybe another day I have an epiphany on it, but I don't like it. I know it stinks. I don't like it as a theory. I think if you're gonna make a spiritual theory like that, you're gonna get poked at like, oh, that's ego, right? You know what I mean? Like, it almost is ridiculous, right? Even though when you construe it to what other people were saying, like they're saying only a few real people in their city, I understand what they're saying, right? Like, they're seeing everybody using the same consciousness. Everybody is speaking the same because there are social norms, And in all of those fashions, yeah, I understand. But I still think it stinks. Anyway, we'll talk about it another day because it's kind of a bit separate to this talk. Rita, you said this place is doomed. We don't need we don't need to be masters here. I personally just want to get out. Yeah, well, this is how I feel. And while I'm here, I just want to remain myself and not lost in delirious experiences. Delirious existences in flesh forever. Yeah, well, that we can have hope in that we're going to get out. Or can we? That's what I was saying before. I mean, is it that easy to say, oh, well, I've seen other visions of other places, so yeah, I'm getting out. Are you? How do you know? Because you have faith. Oh, because I think so, I know. Oh, I have faith. That's why this video title is such a huge subject. Because it's so buried and hidden, right? You don't consider it and you don't want to. Because it's very difficult to think about. For instance, like, yeah, okay, I've seen other places, but like I said before, how do I know that's not another construct? How do I really, how do I know that my thoughts are are not given to me? Because it seems that way. It seems we pick up thoughts of the field. I can get into different chakras and I can pick up different thoughts. I can get into different worlds and pick up different ideas. You know what I mean? It's not that simple, this philosophy. Yeah, but this is essentially what I'm saying, Rita, that this place is a doom, a cage. What is a doom? If something is doomed, right, you said to me now, this place is doomed. Well, what does that mean? Right? What is a doom? A doom is, again, a sealing. And the Bible talks about this great sealing that's coming, right? And I was talking about, the robot body, right? And is the flesh needed for a type of, not flesh, but is the cellular matrix, needed for transversal? You know what I mean? Can it be done in a robot? I mean, there's no cells. Maybe they make nanobots to the size of cells and we get, a futuristic robot which is essentially exactly like a human body. Well, it's still made out of different stuff. Because is it going to be a polymer, plastic? Is it going to be a metal, alloy, plastic? You know what I mean? I don't know. There's all these paths, and you would suspect something like that, not just like metal clunk. You know what I mean? I'm not stupid, but still, in those forms, like in the polymer form, I mean, we have polymers in us, so in that fashion, okay, maybe, but definitely not in the next step, which is clunky metallics. That's clearly what we've got going on. Clunky, dumbass robots. Right, they're not intelligent. I told myself, Injun says, I told myself what anyone is saying, and I think I learned to hear good or evil sayings by telling myself what things mean. I think I learned to hear good or evil sayings. God, this chat keeps disappearing. I think I learned to hear good or evil sayings by telling myself what things mean. I feel that that's good knowledge of the tree of good and evil through spelling. That was very bad English spelling in your sentence. That you put that in front of that word. Anyway, you put THREW in front of spelling. Injun, what are you doing to me, Injun? In one's face is faith. Though I feel nothing in English all around me, I found you on YouTube through thinking that you are thinking. I'm not leaving no one out, but I am that one that's thinking that you are also thinking. Well, that's Descartes, right? That's Descartes, René Descartes right there. I think, therefore I am. That's really what you said in that paragraph. That's definitely Descartes type of philosophy. Does the person you will never meet exists, or did I exist to you before today? Yeah, this is again that same argument. I like it. I like to talk about it, but it always stinks. Like, I'll show you how it stinks this time. What you've said is, does the person you will... Oh, let's go to your second line. Did you exist before today? Well, you did. You know you existed yesterday. Right? I didn't know that, but that doesn't mean you didn't exist. Do you see what I mean? Like, that just cuts straight through that argument. It's not even difficult. That's why I always say it stinks. It's a rotten argument. It's pretty shitty philosophy. Although there is something in it. There's something in it about, and what's in it? Well, what pops out is the NPC idea. But then what I'm saying is people are taking it way to the extreme. So do you understand how I see it now? Because yes, it pops out the NPC, the matrix simulation idea, etc. Right? It pops out all of those things that we know. But what I'm saying is people are taking it to the extreme, and I feel that is hurting our movement, you know what I mean? Of us trying to tell people what we're trying to tell them about background, that there is a background, right, or a base plane, and the dimensional model necessarily comes in there. And that, this is huge, it's very important, because if we can get the dimensional model into science, then we're at Nikola Tesla's level. What do I mean? Well, if you look in the science page in consciousazine, the science, all around science page, the website that I made, you'll see Nikola Tesla's quote. And he says, the day we look into, well, I've forgotten his exact quote because it's been so many years, but to really badly paraphrase and give you the idea, he's talking about the day that science looks beyond like the physical, it'll make like 100 times more progress in the same amount of time. And I'm on his page. I definitely agree with his quote there. And I feel that they're this is perfect, because I didn't publish it because it was such a stupid video. And it was a video on teleportation. Just the other day I found an article. I guess I'll publish it tomorrow or something, maybe after I've done the stream. But it was a really stupid article, you may have read it, in Science, about Bob, Alice and another name. And they're talking about teleportation, and Alice has to use Bob as an intermediate to get to Ben, and that Ben and Alice were trying to teleport, right? And they're saying, "Oh, we've done it, we've teleported." And I said, "Well, what's this third party?" I don't know, maybe it is teleportation, maybe I'm not seeing it, but it sounded weird, suspicious. But my point is, it was so stupid that not even a preschooler could understand it, because there was nothing said in the article. Now, given it was a second-hand article, you would expect something like that. It was a second-hand article. It wasn't written by like a really good science writer that uses the appropriate wording, right? It was some layman, some idiot. But my point is with that, you've just written a whole bunch of comments there, hold on. Okay. Alright, sorry, I forgot where I was going with that. Got distracted there. What were we talking about? teleportation, wasn't it? But the stupid aspect of it. Yeah, that was important, that stupid aspect of it. Oh yeah. I was saying how science is, it's like, it's not like it's stalled, but it is a type of stalling. You know what I mean? Like you can only go so far when you're inspecting the third dimension, the physical reality. And that's where I agree with Nikola Tesla. Like you're just going to make so much more progress if we can actually integrate this stuff. And as far as I've read, science talks about a fifth dimension, but it's nothing like what we talk about spiritually speaking. They talk about monopoles as a fifth dimension. And I'm having trouble understanding it. You know, a monopole, magnetic moments, if anybody's read about this stuff. This was 10 years ago I read this, by the way, on Phys.org. And I was reading about, you know, their dimensions, their fourth dimension, their fifth dimension, and there was no more. There's no, you know... DB! How you going? We have DB from Gang Stalking Simulation in the house. How you going? Hey, I want to hear some stuff from you, DB. Right? He's at work. Have you got a quick question, a quick something? Say something, do something. Come on, DB, do something. Something, bro. You got something? A question, an insinuation, a topic, anything. Throw something at me here, DB. So DB does a channel called Gang Stalking Simulation. I was watching your videos this morning. Talk to me. I'm asking you to talk to me. Okay. Well, here's a good idea. You know, your channel's Gang Stalking Simulation. I do gang stalking videos as well. And what I'm talking about here is a context of, you know, blind faith, you know, hope, being hopeless, essentially. So, indeed, what I'm trying to say is that it is gang stalking. So who is hoping you? Who is, you know, giving the blind faith? Is that God then, you know, the AI of this system? Because people, this is what I said at the start, it always goes back to a singularity. But then you've got a blind faith in a singularity, or you haven't even seen God's face. You haven't even sat down and had a drink with him. You know what I mean? Or have you? Have you drunk divinely Amrita Amranth, the energies of the universe? And I mean, it just keeps going on. Yes, but what's that? Could that just be, you know, is that just an energy of a certain ceiling? Anyway, what I wanted to say was, more personally, was that, you know, it fits into gang stalking. What better way to extract energy than to give a subject in your universe, if you're God, faith and hope? What better way to extract energy? Just saying, you can say that's negative or positive or whatever, but what better way? Because it's blind, you know what I mean? And do you know where it's coming from? You know what I mean? All those sort of questions. That's how I'd fit you and our channels on gang stalking into this. I'd really like your input though. I wish you weren't at work and you could talk more. But there'll be other live sessions. Hopefully we can get us discussing, right? Because I saw your video this morning, DB, and you're like me, you're pissed, right? You see the shit. I was watching your Tupac video, how Tupac was obviously gang stalked, obviously. Because yeah, I would say that Tupac was not an NPC. I would say that Tupac was, you know, like one of us. And yeah, without watching your video and the evidence of him saying it himself, which is very cool to see, and I'm very happy you posted that, because to see him say that and you see his expression, you know it, you know the truth, you know you're seeing him say the truth, was very refreshing, but also depressing. But yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to talk to you more, definitely. Injin said, I use clunky mechanical metals, polymer, plastic, TV speaker and device to locate your channel. I feel you are there in your flesh talking to clunky mechanical metals and plastic also. Yes. I call it imaginary friends and these devices are magical devices. Yeah. But what's your point? I agree. And? Oh, sorry, I hit the chat. That was an accident. Fuck. No, it's back. Alright. Gang stalking simulation. Are you saying hello to DB? Aha! So Injin found my channel via DB's gang stalking simulation channel. Cool. Yeah, I've been doing a bit of commenting under DB's videos. Because, hold on 1 second. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of commenting under gang stalking simulation channel by DB. I don't even know, is that an abbreviation for your name? But yeah, because he keeps uploading at a rate of experience, and that's what I've started to do as well. Now, I didn't do that at the start, but I feel that's actually very important to connect it all, so that you can really see gang stalking. Because if you give it to people in bits, it's just impossible to see, right? It is about the connections. It is about not just one dot, but it definitely is a higher view, right? It's not just you're saying, oh, bad luck or circumstance or happenstance, or you know what I mean? It brings us about to meaning when we talk about gang stalking, right? Because otherwise it's just like, whoa, that's nothing, right? Oh, I can ignore it. But what kind of idiot walks around like this? Well, I'm telling you, most people. And that we're forming an idiocracy in this place. But what, I'll go back to what I said. What idiot walks around like this? You know what I mean? You'd have to be an idiot. Because you're ignoring. Well, that's idiotic. So when we enter in gang stalking, we're giving it meaning. Or we're finding meaning, etc., right? So fuck them and their disbelief, so to speak, you know what I mean, and unknowing. The point is, do Hollywood actors exist? Said Injin. Yeah. Well, remember we had we have Tom Hanks at the center of the Mandela effect. So if you're going to say NPC, then I'd point to him, NPC consciousness there. But then you have those people like, I don't know their names, I'm just trying to think. The blonde-haired guy, he's fairly good looking. Is it the guy from Wedding Crashers? No, that's a different guy. Is it Owen or something? I don't know their names. Can you tell? But that blonde guy who seemed to have a spiritual awakening, he's that famous actor. And then there's Ace Ventura himself. What's his name? We all know him. Fuck, I'm an idiot. Geez, I'm very forgetful right now. What's his name? Jim Carrey, right? He's also had seemingly a spiritual awakening, right? And then you have, who else? Russell Brand. Even though I saw 3333 on my other channel, I uploaded that video. Disappointing. Um, and interesting. This is worth discussing because Russell Brand, yeah, this is very worth discussing because that blonde guy who I was mentioning, he goes into philosophy and he considers, right? So I'd point him as like having, you know, an actual awakening. And then there's Jim Carrey, also completely changed his attitude. And if you know me from my childhood, you would be saying the same thing about me. Now, it doesn't mean I was an organic portal, it means we were just operating there due to lack of awareness. We're just operating on their level. And we were also able to always operate at a higher level, but we always were just meeting the world, making ends meet, you know what I mean? So it's not that we were organic portals, we were just making ends meet and meeting them there where they are. But then there's the case of Russell Brand. He definitely has like a Christ energy, but I've also said that about the fat Alex Jones, and he's not skinny. And I would relate that to Christ as well, the skinniness, because the fatness would be more of a Buddha form. The sitting, because Christ is more of a walker, like myself, like walking crystal. And I always see you, DB, you going on about how you're Christ energy and how you're always traveling around in your videos too, so it's interesting. But yeah, I want to get back to Russell Brand because he had the 3-3 on his wrist or something. In the video you can see it. And with him, he doesn't get into deep philosophy, have you noticed? Russell Brand is talking about like media level stuff, like mainstream media stuff, and then like, you know, making them look to be the fool as they are, but he doesn't take it deeper. And he's got the millions of followers, right? He's got the millions. The point is, people like DB, we need to have the millions for any of this to change. I've said this before. We're going to have to lift certain people, or it's not going to happen. And there will be a point where people realize this naturally. So it's kind of like we just have to wait, which is super frustrating, right? Because we know. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, anyway, I want to move on. Rita said, both my parents know of this matrix and its deceptions. They never told me. I discovered a lot about it when I was a kid. Do you think genes have any kind of influence? Yeah, of course, genetics. Because like I said, of course genetics play a role in this because us with like higher spirit, we can change our genetics quicker. We heal quicker. We can direct energy better. So I can sit here in mudra, right, in mudras, and I can direct energy around my body differently to these people. And, you know, genetics, you know, we've made music out of DNA. If you check the new energy wave frequency harmonics page, for instance, and we definitely have a different music about us. I say that we're alchemical and we walk around and we change everything in our environment, and they don't do this. It's like they're a static object, right? It's like they are really the background. That's base NPC, like base NPC. But the DNA and why do you think they want to, you know, why do you think they're so into genetics? I mean, eugenics, stuff like that. And now genetics, right? You know, and for control, right? To control the human genome and all this. And they will. It'll get worse. That's why I said that guy from Diving Deep, the black guy from, what's his name? you know, the famous New Age black dude from Diving Deep, how I made that video, he's one of them. Because all he does is perpetuate the, I've forgotten his name now. All he does is perpetuate like common spiritual New Age norms. And that's just another society. It's just another culture or cult. A culture is always a cult. It's a petri dish. It's a closed system. It's a grid of experience. These six-dimensional... Yeah, Ralph Smart, that's it. Thanks, DB, bro. Yeah, I'm talking about Ralph Smart there. That's what I was talking about. It's like regurgitate New Age. Do you see me doing that now? No, I could be sitting here going, oh, I love peace and oh, we'll just meditate higher and all this. Yeah, I know about all that. I went through it very, very thoroughly. I can teach as well as those guys can teach. I'd be surprised if they know more about meditation than me. I really would be surprised. Genuinely surprised. I've not shown everything I know about everything and meditation. Because what am I going to do? Give it all away for free? Do I think he's an agent? That's kind of what I've been saying in that video. Someone mentioned his head movements and we did a little comment under the video. I was like, yeah, snake something, or you know, we were talking about that level of it. And in Organic Portal's handbook, I said there are 4 agents of the Matrix, and one of them is the snake, the planet Snakeados. It's an over theme or something. It's a personality of this universe or something like that. Then there's the square, and this is all in the eyes. There are 4 eyes that you see, right? You see the dilated ones, and I don't know what it is. It's like an alien. I want to talk about it more. I don't want to really talk about that here because I want to write another book. But there are those 4 eyes, and you see the square eyes, the dilation, the empty, or the slits. I'm sure you guys have seen the slits. Many of us have. And when they come over the eyes, like I was shocked. Ralph Smart speaks facts. Yes. But what does that mean? It can, like I said, it should regurgitate. I can speak facts all day and regurgitate and regurgitate. And he does reasonable psychology. I believe he's a major in that fashion. And it's very positively based. And it's definitely the opposite to this video. Of, you know, he will instill hope. He will instill blind faith. And, I mean, there is something in it, but definitely not in the context of this video. But, you know, because we're going to tangent to the opposite of what I'm talking about here. But even if he speaks facts, like I was saying, there's so much, like, maybe I need to watch some more videos. And I don't, you know, dive into a lot of his stuff. But why was I so turned off so quickly? Recently I've been talking about keep going up, and new information keeps going up, and he just turned me off. And it's not because he didn't reply long ago. I'm not holding a grudge like an idiot. Like, that's there, but you know what I mean? Like, do you listen to him a lot then, DB? Or what? Because I wouldn't mind going to have another rummage through like that stuff, but what I'm saying in this video is definitely the exact opposite to what they're all saying, which is instilling faith and instilling hope, right? And positivity and uber positivity as well. Yeah, you can learn a lot from him, definitely. Look, I've not seen... see, really, I need to have a deeper look, but there was a reason that I've been so turned off from it, not just like a grudge. Like, I was watching his video on indigos, right? And I know I can speak better on it. And I know what he was doing was the chorus, was the regurgitate chorus, what we, like the basic. And then I'll expand it in so many different ways, like in the id go, right? And, I see it as like, I'm past that level. Does that mean he's an agent? No. But for other reasons, possibly, because he's not moving onward and upward. Maybe in other facets he is, and other things he's speaking of. It's a little bit more complex than that. I mean, I haven't seen his eyes turn to slits. So I mean, I'm not saying he's organic portal and he's got reptilians coming through him or anything like that. I'm not talking on that level of agent, but an agent for the matrix, and is he speaking about escaping and stuff, right? Like, I really think it's tantamount, because we're at the end. It is the eschaton, and it is the apocalypse. I mean, anyway, I don't want to dwell too much on there. Oh, he spoke on gang stalking. He didn't use the name, but he know about the programs. Alright. I'm going to have a look. And at what level he spoke about it, that will be interesting. Injin said, watered down as the world turns out will. What? Pardon me. Sorry, I'm going to go to reader's comment. There are even Brazilian... Hold on. Chat keeps disappearing. There are even Brazilian spiritualists who believe we need to reincarnate hundreds of times here and then keep reincarnating in other planets of this system. It is disgusting. Well, planet Snakeados comes from it doesn't come from the yogis of India. It comes from the Amazon, and they've got the giant snake, physical. But planet Snakeados, the idea of snake people, like if we're going to mention David Icke and interdimensional reptilians and all this, that whole idea has been around for thousands of years in the shaman of the Amazon. And that's a long, long time before David Icke existed, you know what I mean? And what is the Ouroboros? It's a snake biting its tail. It's a snake biting its tail, but emphasis on snake. And that, even Australian culture has, the rainbow serpent created like all the lands and valleys in Australia, the Aboriginals of Australia. And there's all these snake undertones to creation myths in cultures worldwide. A bit too coincidental, So, back to your comment, the Brazilian spiritualists who believe we need to reincarnate and blah, blah, blah. What I want to say on that is, again, I don't like the obvious. You always see that I hate the obvious, again, because it's not bringing me up. So you always notice me, I'm always throwing in something new, right? That novelty, because it keeps taking you up. And so, again, I'll point to the Ouroboros, this snake biting its own tail, and in relation to reincarnation. I've talked about reincarnation before. It's carne. Like in Spanish here, it means cow meat. But let's focus on the second word. It means meat, like the meat sack body, right? And to re-meat sack. And I get the idea of soul and picking up information, because I talk about the philosopher's stone, which is picking up bits of light, bits of epiphanies to complete the mindscape. And that's why we don't know, because we don't hold the stone in front of us. We're picking up bits off the ground like rubbish, you know what I mean? it's not as easy to talk about this stuff as just common English. It's very difficult to talk about this stuff in English, right? When you are in your mind, you know how when you come up with, it seems much more perfect. But what I wanted to say was, you know, why should you have to reincarnate if you come down here all knowing? Ooh, and you know, like essentially we're like Jesus, like sons of God, so to speak, right? Christ and all this. So why would we have to reincarnate? Because I always bring. Oh, I'm gonna run out of where at once. Yeah, I've got to stop the video. Shit. But